Hi, my name is Anne Russell. I'm the birth mother of 2 adult children with FASD and the founder of the Russell Family Fetal Alcohol Disorders Association. This is the 10th in a series of presentations on FASD. During my research, I found that there's a lot of information on FASD, but not specific presentations on various aspects of it. So I've prepared a series that includes school, secondary disabilities, specific things that are likely to be difficult in the lives of those living with FASD, their families, their parents and carers, and the people themselves. So this particular one is on employment. Because people with FASD have quite good verbal ability, which means they can speak well and they sound like they know what they're talking about, and in job interviews they raise the employer's expectations because they can be very they can appear enthusiastic. Yes, I can do this. Yeah, there's no problem. I really want this job. That sort of thing. And of course, I generalise. And so they raise the employer's expectations, and of course when that doesn't happen, when after 3 or 4 months that those expectations haven't manifested, the employer is consequently disappointed, and often the individual doesn't get through probation. So what I've found that's most important for people with FASD is 6 factors. Now these 6 factors need to be in place before the individual has any chance of maintaining employment. And these factors, I've based them on my experience with my son's experience, and the many jobs that he's had and that haven't lasted. So the 6 factors are the right job with the right employer. Factor 2 is the right case manager. Factor 3 is the right employment program. Factor 4, the right stage of social and emotional maturity. And Factor 5 is the right living environment and social supports. And Factor 6 is the right medication and health supports. These are all important things to be in place for a person with FASD. Now, we may be able to work with only 1 or 2 or 3 in place, but for someone with a brain injury, it's really important that most or all of these are in place. I know it's very difficult to get all of them in place, very, very difficult. So, the right job with the right employer. First of all, the type of job should be something that is of interest to the individual. For instance, if you can find their passion or a hobby and turn that into a job, that would be ideal. For instance, my son's passion is driving. He loves driving, and so the job that he's most likely to succeed in is a driving job, and currently he's doing courier work, and hopefully that will last for longer than the usual, which is around 6 months for him. And the right employer is somebody who actually knows that the individual has a disability. When they're sort of teenagers and young people, it's important that the employer understands what things are likely to create difficulties for the individual. I know in disability employment, it's always been that the individual's strengths are the things that are advertised, I guess. But in this case, with FASD, it needs to be told about the difficulties that they're likely to have, and what accommodations need to be made to avoid any of those difficulties. The right case manager. needs to be somebody who's not going to give up easily and who understands FASD, who understands the reasons why certain things might be happening. And it's also important in some cases to employ the family, if you like, in helping this individual maintain employment. And then that's going to be on a case-by-case basis, because 50% of parents or mothers who have children with FASD have FASD themselves, so that might be very difficult for them. Now, the Right Employment Program will be a program that lasts for the life of the individual, and there's no such program in Australia. However, because this is a lifelong problem. However, a program that might last 2, 3 or 4 years will certainly benefit the individual and help them put into place and understand the things that they're likely to have trouble with. Now, the right stage of social and emotional maturity. Seth obtained employment when he was only just 15. And a 15-year-old with FASD is probably only operating at a 8 or 9-year-old level, if that. And so it's really not the right stage of social and emotional maturity. However, in Seth's case, and probably in a lot of other cases, when school no longer works for them, then it's either doing nothing, sitting at home, or working. And once again, that needs to be on a case-by-case basis. What I've tried to avoid since I've known about FASD is for Seth to fail in things, because he's had a lot of failures in his life, and I want whatever he does now to be a success. And so if you think that the child is not at the right stage of social and emotional maturity, then think twice about whether employment is the right thing, even supported employment. Factor 5 is the right living environment and social supports. Ideally, the living environment would be with a caring family, somebody who can take the individual to the job and pick them up and advocate for them. Or in Seth's case now, he's with his wife and 2 children. But living independently, which is very, very difficult for people with FASD, or living in a situation that isn't pleasant, that has arguments, violence, that sort of thing, won't be a good environment for somebody with FASD who's trying to obtain employment and maintain employment. Factor 6 is the right medication and health supports. I put that in because medication has made the world of difference to Seth. Without medication, he would be in prison or worse. The medication that he's on now is an antipsychotic called Zyprexa, and it stops any violence and aggression, and it seems to calm him down and keep his mood fairly even, although he does still get angry and upset about things. It's certainly not to the level that it used to be. So with those 6 factors in place, the individual has a much better chance of maintaining employment than he would if they weren't in place. And as I said earlier, with us, it could be that we can manage with only 3 of those things in place, but it's unlikely that a person with FASD could maintain employment without all of those being in place. So if you'd like to find out more about FASD and employment, please email me at elizabeth@rffada.org, F for Fred. Have a look at our website or our Facebook page, or give me a call or email me about the training that we have available for people in FASD and employment. The RFFADA has developed training and is now delivered by a registered training organisation called Training Connections Australia by qualified trainers. So if you're interested, email me and I can give you information. That's Elizabeth at rffada.org. Thank you.